Promo Show, all the top tunes.
Hey, Mulligan.
What are you doing? I don't know. Give them just what they get in the big house.
It's the Joey and Rory Show with this week's special guest, JAMIE TEACHENOR. This week's episode brought to you by Lions Chevrolet in Lewisburg, Tennessee. And now your host, Grammy-winning, Grammy-nominated, well, they should be, very good singers. Here they are, Joey and Rory.
I played a party last night for some old folks. They were dancing and smiling at me, except this old man alone at a table, as if there's some place that he'd rather be. So I said, sir, can I play something for you? Something special that you'd like to hear. When he looked up at me, he was smiling. Oh, but his eyes, they couldn't hide the tears. He said, play me the waltz of the angels, and I'll close my eyes and pretend. Play me the waltz of the angels, so I can dance with my angel again. He said, yes, that's the song I remember. That's the one that she loved the best. It was playing the night that I met her, and it was playing when we laid her to rest. Play me the waltz of the angels, and I'll close my eyes and pretend. Play me the waltz of the angels, so I can dance with my angel again. Play me the waltz of the angels, and I'll close my eyes and pretend. Play me the waltz of the angels, so I can dance with my angel again. Let me dance with my angel again.
That's some good old country music right there.
Nothing but the best. Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You'll be alright.
His and Hers, the brand new album from ACM winners Joey and Rory.
When I'm gone.
Order yours now at joeyandrory.com.
We down there at the filling station the other day, an old spark plug come in. Had on one shoe. I said, "You lose a shoe, spark plug?" He said, "No, I found one." You ever notice how your wife goes to get a permanent in her hair, and then 3 months later, she's gotta go get another one? That ain't permanent, that's temporary.
So, hun, who's our special guest this week?
Well, today is one of our old friends that's a great songwriter, a great piano player, and a great singer. This is JAMIE TEACHENOR.
I grew up in a small town called Vegas, Missouri, and it's a really wonderful town, little small rural farming area, and family musicians. Everybody played in my family, and it's just what you did. It's kind of like growing up in a family of carpenters. You know, you're going to know how to drive a nail, and so by default, I knew how to play music. It was just like osmosis or something. And if you didn't know how to play, you're sitting on the couch, and I didn't want to be sitting on the couch. And so my dad was a rockabilly musician back in the 50s and 60s, and naturally I started listening to his records, like, you know, the old Sun records, like Jerry Lee and Carl Perkins and, you know, all that great stuff. When I was 9 years old, I played my first gig for money. And I remember at the end of that night, I got 65 bucks. And I thought, man, I don't want to ever do anything else again. And so I decided, I promised myself when I was 21, I'd move to Nashville. I barely made it. I moved here on about 5 hours before I turned 21. As quickly as possible, I landed my first publishing deal with a company called Murrah Music. I met Rory at the office, and he was there, and we were there for a Bible study, actually, is how we met. And so the next week, we wrote our first time. I wrote a song called How Do You Get That Lonely?
How do you get that lonely?
And Blaine Larson recorded that. It was my first radio hit. It was on the radio. I went on to do a lot of cool things. I got to play on Good Morning America with him and the Grand Ole Opry, a lot of dreams, you know, just because of that song, and I'm really grateful for that. I went on, and I've had songs recorded by Luke Bryan and Trace Adkins and Montgomery Gentry and Gretchen Wilson and Trisha Yearwood. I'm very grateful, you know, that the Lord has allowed me to have these songs recorded by these great artists that I'm really, really proud of. I've always known that I was only being true to about half of myself musically. And I moved to Nashville for a reason, and I knew that the dream was to come over here and record my own album. I've been in the studio recently, just busy recording my debut album that I just released called The Departure by myself. And I'm just so excited to see where this next chapter is going to take me.
Dewdrop dripping from a cherry tree, butterfly talking to a honeybee, hummingbird humming that bird won't fly. He goes out on a limb in the shade and cries and cries. Some wings kiss the sky, and some go there in stages. Some lose the will to fly, and some free birds have cages. Woodpecker pecking on a hollow tree says that cat won't listen to me. Underneath the flicker of a lightning bug, he just sits around mourning for his turtle dove, his one true love, his only love. Some wings kiss the sky, some go there in stages. Some lose the will to fly. Some free birds have cages. I used to love the sound of that whippoorwill, but it haunts him now and it always will. It reminds him how they used to sing along. She flew away and now the music's gone. Gone. And now she's gone. Some wings kiss the sky. Some go there in stages. Some lose the will to fly. Some free birds have cages. Some lose the will to fly. Some free birds have cages.
You go from rags to riches, farm to fame, from digging ditches to the whole world knows your name. You'll stand in the spotlight till the light goes dim, and it's rags to riches, to rags again.
You getting busy, Joe? How's that feel, baby? That's what I'm talking about right there.
This building was built in the 1890s. It has a slight lean to it if you look from the outside in. The floors have holes in it. There's no insulation in the walls. It has been through the ringer. And just to look from the outside, it doesn't look like much at all. I mean, it looks like it's falling in, but you walk in here and it's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see. It's like walking into Grandma's house.
Do you want that on homemade wheat or homemade white? White?
Well, actually, the idea to open the restaurant wasn't my idea, it was Marcy's idea.
I've always dreamed of owning my own restaurant, but I never thought it'd ever happen.
She came down to the farm and saw this little building that was empty, and she said, we should open a little restaurant down there.
Before we knew it, it was just a full-blown breakfast and lunch and people meeting people, and it was great.
Now, the decorating in here is really completely Marcy, because you look at everything and it just has her name on it, except for the pictures of us.
People started bringing in pictures of Joey and Rory. A guy would make their faces out of artwork. It was unbelievable. And they'd go to a concert of theirs, and they'd do pictures that they took at the Opry when they played the Opry. And so we just started gathering them all. And then Rory and Joey do a show somewhere, like in Georgia, and they'd bring back a little, poster, and I just started collecting them. It's turned into a Joey and Rory shrine.
When we started looking at this building, it took a lot of work. We knew there was going to be a lot of things that we needed to do in order to get it up and going for a restaurant, because at the time it was just a fruit and vegetable stand. So we had to gut it, we had to tear out all these shelves. Rory came in and did all of our plumbing. Marcy and I hung a wall to separate the bathroom from the kitchen. Then we were open for maybe 6 months, then we had to add another bathroom to make it handicap accessible. We had to put heat and air in. We put this old wood-burning stove in here to kind of help heat everything in the wintertime. So there was a lot that went into getting it ready and prepared, but I think it only took us about 4 months by the time we started to finish. We opened January 19th of 2007.
Our dad used to take us to a diner when we were kids, and he was a singer also, and that's where Rory was taught how to play guitar, was from our dad. And Dad used to bring us to these diners, and I think I wish my dad could see the way that I can. No. It's hot.
You know, the neat thing about having a restaurant is just kind of like having family over to your house. They come in, you serve them food, you cook for them, they enjoy it, and you get to reap the benefits and see how much they enjoy what they're eating. And what that does for me in particular, and Marcy, is just very rewarding because it's about taking care of someone.
There you go. So we got Elvis cake, we got German chocolate cake, we got strawberry cake, we got cinnamon rolls, all non-fat.
And in a lot of ways, this is taking care of our community and our neighbors. And so it's much like a big family now.
What better line than changing lives one bite at a time, because we actually come in early in the morning, we make our breads, we make our desserts, and people know that and they love it, and they can tell a huge difference in it. It's all about changing lives. It's funny, people come in the restaurant and they ask me to sign autographs, and it's really funny. I love it, I really do. I get a kick out of it, and I would never dream of signing on. I mean, I get stopped at Walmart and people say, "Are you Marcy Jo?" I'm like, "I'm Marcy and I'm Joe right now." Yep, I am. So it's sweet though, I like it. I need makeup.
Hear that, boys? We're just barely into the show and my tummy is already growling. Let's head down to Marcy Jo's and see what they're cooking today.
Y'all come on in. Sit wherever you want.
Owning a restaurant is a real blessing, but it's also a lot of hard work.
Yes, it is.
From keeping great employees, putting in all the hours that you put in here, and then also making sure that the customer is always happy.
Yes, that's most important because customers come first.
That's right.
That's what I've, you know, that's the way it should be.
But because Marcy and I are sister-in-laws, it is a family-owned business. Our daughters work here throughout the summer and pretty much full-time, one does.
Right.
And then your daughters have come in and helped as well.
They've come in and helped, yeah.
And then, of course, your mom has been a huge blessing.
Oh, yeah, Mom's wonderful. I love it because Mom doesn't, she just wants to help with whatever. She'll come in, she'll wash dishes, she'll bus tables, but she is a really great baker, and I learned from her how to bake. And one of her favorites is what we're gonna show you today. It's called a banana nut bread with praline frosting.
Now, I thought my mom had a great banana nut bread recipe.
Mine was better.
Yes, it was. So let's go ahead and get started with what we're going to be cooking here today. And here, Marcy has the here dry ingredients. What you have in there?
I do. I've got flour, and I've got soda. You know, your baking soda and your salt and your baking powder. And you've got the wet ingredients over there.
So I've got the butter, the 2 eggs, buttermilk, vanilla, lots of sugar, and then we're gonna cut up a couple bananas here.
Okay.
Get those going. Here's your fork right there. Every time I smell bananas being mashed up, I think of little babies.
Aww.
For some reason, I guess because Mom always fed bananas to my little sister, and my sister was about 6 or 7 years younger than me.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So we're gonna do about 3 or 4. You can do, depending on the size of the bananas. I mean, we have 3 here, but they're nice and brown. You wanna make sure they're aged a little bit too, and they're not just, you know, green a little bit.
Yeah.
So after we do all this mashing, you wanna get them really small. You don't want any big chunks in there. So while Marcy's finishing mashing those, we're gonna add all the ingredients together in one bowl, and then we're gonna spray our little pans. We like these tiny ones because they're perfect for people. If they don't wanna buy a whole big loaf, they can put them in these smaller ones. We wanna grease it real good. For one batch, we'll do 4 of these loaf pans. We're gonna bake that in a 350 oven for about an hour.
Yeah.
Or less, depending on the size of pan you put it in. And then, as that's baking, you're gonna go ahead and heat your butter, your brown sugar, and what else we have in here? And our milk.
Yes, and that's what's really gonna make it.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Frosting, yeah.
And you're gonna heat it so that it bubbles and simmers. It's gonna have a little syrupy kind of texture. Looks like honey.
Yes.
Then you're gonna add your 1 cup of pecans. After you add your cup of pecans, you're gonna stir that. You're gonna put that on top of your baked banana nut bread.
Yes.
And then after you put it on top of that. You're gonna put it under the broiler for about 3 or 4 minutes, but you wanna watch it really closely.
Yeah, because it'll burn.
Yeah.
You gotta be really careful.
I burned a batch last week.
Oh, you did?
I'd throw it away. Then you're gonna throw that on there, broil it, and here is the end result. Look at all that gooey, beautiful.
And it's wonderful.
So nice. You know, it's kind of slow here today.
It is.
I don't have very many people here to taste test. Let's see if we can get one of these camera crew guys to come over here. Nick, come on over here, bud.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Why don't you go ahead and try this, Nick? See what you think. I don't know, his mama might have a really good recipe.
I know.
What do you think? Is this as good as your mama's?
That might beat my mama's.
Aw. Really?
Don't tell her.
Okay, we won't. Well, there you have it, folks. Even the young guys like it. Here at Marcy Jo's, there's our banana nut bread with praline topping, where we're changing lives.
One bite at a time.
You'll be alright.
His and Hers, the
On
brand
that
new album from ACM winners Joey and Rory.
When I'm gone.
Order yours now at joeyandrory.com.
All week long now you've been promising you'd spend today at home. And I've got your honey-do list all made up, ready to go. But now you're loading up your fishing gear and say your buddy's on his way. Before you pull out the drive, honey, all I'm gonna say is I feel a headache coming on. And I think this one's a doozy. It might last all week long. So go on, that's fine, have a good time. But remember while you're gone, I feel a headache coming on. Don't forget you got a birthday coming up real soon. And I bought something special I was gonna wear for you. I had a big night all planned out, just you and me alone. Hope you have more luck fishing than you will when you get home. 'Cause I feel a headache coming on. And I think this one's a doozy. It might last all month long. So go on, that's fine, have a big time. But remember while you're gone, I feel a headache coming on. Now if you're dead set on going, I don't wanna change your plans. But you know I can hold out a lot longer than you can. And I feel a headache coming on. I think this one's a migraine. It might last all year long. So go on, that's fine, have a good time. But remember while you're gone, I feel a headache. I'm warning you for your sake. I feel a headache coming on. Oh, honey, I thought you'd see it my way.
Well, it's already time to say goodbye. We want to leave you with this one last thought.
Planting the garden and watching it grow, and keeping it country on the radio. That's important to me. Yeah, that's important to me.
Don't forget about what's most important to you.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you'll watch again next week. Same place, same time.
Media.